Excellent. Okay, so I think we can begin now as people start to join us. But thank you everybody that has joined this webinar today. So today we're going to be presenting the solution of Business Network for Logistics, SAP solution. Myself, I will take us through just a very quick introduction on Westernacher. So anybody that doesn't know who Westernacher are can get a very brief overview. But this will be very much a solution-focused webinar. So after my very quick introduction, I'll pass over to Tony from SAP. So it's a collaborative webinar with SAP. Who'll give us an introduction to the business network as a whole, and then we will dive deeper into the logistics area with Katarina. So if we can just go to the company slide. Excellent, and maybe just a quick introduction of myself. So I'm the sales director for Westernacher, based in UK and Ireland. So as you can see, the world map on the left, we're a global consultancy. We're headquartered in Germany with market units around the world. So I'm personally based out of London. We're 850 plus experts worldwide. And we've been around for 53 plus years, so since I think 1969, and 30 years of those has been as an SAP partner. And in the top right corner, you'll see that we're an SAP Gold partner. We have a very specific focus in terms of our expertise with digital supply chain. So you'll see at the bottom there that we have end-to-end capabilities across the full digital supply chain solutions. That also includes things like warehouse management, integrated business planning, transportation management, and obviously the important focus for today is our logistics business network capabilities. And then just above the kind of overview of our solutions, you'll see that we've got a few of our accolades there where we were first in various different solutions with SAP for implementation. So it just goes to show our kind of tight relationship that we have with SAP, and we're very pleased to be able to do that collaborative webinar with them today. As I say, just wanted to give everybody an overview as to who we were, to anybody that doesn't know us, but as I say, this is very much a solution-focused webinar today. So as I said, we'll pass over to Tony, then Katarina, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So if anybody has any questions, if you can just put them into the questions tab of the webinar, and then we'll have sort of 10 or 15 minutes at the end, and we'll go through those questions and ask them to the experts. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Tony.
Great, thanks Tom, and hello everybody. So I'm Tony Harris, I'm Chief Marketing and Solutions Officer for SAP Business Network, and I'm really pleased to be joining you all on this webinar today. So as Tom said, I'm just going to spend a few minutes walking us through some content that will really help to explain what SAP Business Network is overall, what kind of challenges it solves for, and how it extends a range of SAP and non-SAP systems. And then I'll hand over to Katarina to go into more details around the logistics capabilities in particular, and Westernacher's credentials in implementing these solutions. So I'm sure we can all agree that since the pandemic, the world has been in what feels like a constant state of disruption, particularly from a supply chain perspective. And personally, I don't see that ending anytime soon. It really has become the new normal. Now, when we surveyed our customers recently, we learned that in addition to contending with all of this disruption, there were three imperatives which pretty much all of them said they were now having to address in order to stay current, and meet customer expectations and really improve collaborations with their trading partners. So starting with supply chain transparency, which is about having complete visibility into what's happening across your trading partners so you can respond to disruption when it occurs. And this could really mean different things to different companies depending on their industry. So for some, it might be a critical need to have details on the various inputs or raw materials that go into their finished products, even if that extends 4 layers deep in your supply chain. Or perhaps having updated information on your trading partners to understand any risks they pose to your business. It might also mean that you need real-time access into the shipping status of the goods you've ordered from the other side of the world to ensure they're going to arrive in time for your planned production run, and to safeguard the profitable orders that you have from some loyal customers. Next is resiliency, and that means you can respond when there is a disruption because you've already identified what might happen and what your plan B should look like. Now, this might involve having one or two alternative sources of supply lined up and ready to transact for when your primary supplier runs into issues, or perhaps being able to quickly find contingent labor for an unplanned need. It could mean having ready access to working capital, or assisting your suppliers to tap into competitive lender rates for when cash flow becomes tight for them. And then finally, sustainability. Now, this is no longer a nice to have or just a box ticking exercise. Sustainability initiatives continue to grow in importance and are now pretty much a board level topic of conversation for every business, at least those that I talk to. And this can range from tracking carbon emissions across your entire supply chain to ensuring the trading partners in your supply chain are ethical businesses and have demonstrable policies on a range of factors such as fair wages, forced labor, sex discrimination, and so on. So in short, businesses need solutions that can help them address these imperatives and really improve the way that they collaborate with their trading partners. Next slide, please. And yet, despite the need for better collaboration, we typically find that most systems can't extend beyond the four walls of the organization, resulting in lots of inefficiency and ineffectiveness. What we find is that most businesses today are connecting with their trading partners in a very ad hoc and unstructured basis. They've developed custom portals that perhaps only address a single process and a handful of suppliers. They're using email and phone calls way too much. They're still using lots of paper and even fax machines, believe it or not. Now, some are using EDI, and that's better than the other methods, but EDI still has plenty of challenges and restrictions in itself. Now, by way of some examples, our research has highlighted that almost 70% of businesses are sending purchase orders to suppliers as PDF attachments to emails. And this has got so many problems, right? How do you know that the supplier received it? How do you know they can fulfill your request? Did you quote the correct price? Are they going to respond to you via another email, which perhaps then sits in your inbox for 2 weeks whilst you're on summer vacations and nobody in the business knows what's going on? And they're sharing things like demand forecasts with suppliers as Excel attachments, again, to emails. The same challenges before apply, right? And what happens when your forecast changes? Do you send them another Excel? How does the supplier know what changed amongst 600 rows of data in an Excel spreadsheet? How do they know what the correct version of the spreadsheet is? And then how do you ask that the supplier performs a quality inspection before sending you the goods you've ordered? That tends to be a phone call into the supplier, and then the results typically come in the form of another phone call or perhaps an email. Again, not great for tracking purposes. And then by way of a final example, what about getting the latest expected time of arrival on those goods you've got being shipped from China? That tends to be yet another phone call, or rather many phone calls over the 6 weeks it takes for the goods to arrive. So again, this creates lots of challenges. There's very, very limited visibility across the business as to what's happening throughout your supply chain. And it often means you've got different processes per trading partner, which is confusing for everyone involved and usually leads to poor adoption rates. So it's also expensive, it's time consuming, and to maintain all these different systems and processes, and again, lacks a serious lack of audit trail typically. Next slide, please. Now, this is where SAP Business Network can help. So our network connects people, process, and systems across multiple enterprises, digitizing transactions and creating transparent, resilient, and sustainable supply chains. We support processes across a wide range of functional areas, including indirect procurement, supply chain, logistics, asset management, finance, and talent. And the network is essentially comprised of two components. Firstly, it's a marketplace of millions of companies providing every kind of good and service you can imagine. and our customers can search the marketplace for what they need and then discover, connect, and transact with the trading partners. Secondly, it's a B2B transactional collaboration platform that really enables you to extend core processes from your SAP and non-SAP systems into the systems of your trading partners. So, for example, kind of picking up on those previous examples I just mentioned, sharing a purchase order directly from S4HANA with the intended supplier digitally, not as an email attachment, and then enabling the supplier to perform follow-on actions like order confirmation or advanced ship notice, and then ultimately sharing their invoice with you digitally. Now, for low volume suppliers, they can interact via our great supplier portal, which provides coverage of many processes. And then for those with larger volumes, we support system-to-system integration. Either way, there's intelligence built into the process designed to capture errors before they occur, such as PO to invoice price variances, duplicate orders and duplicate invoices, fulfillment quantities, and so on. In fact, there's over 200 business rules that can be configured across all of the processes we support. Finally, the network is big. Across the millions of trading partners on the network today, we're supporting over $4.5 trillion of business annually. And there's almost 800 million transactions across 192 countries being executed each year. Next slide, please. Now, talking of a wide range of processes, here we can see examples of some of the processes that are supported on the network today. So finding new sources of supply and then transacting purchase orders and invoices is often where many of our customers choose to start their network journey. And this alone can contribute huge benefits and cost savings for our customers. However, the network really does extend far beyond this. We support complex processes for direct materials such as planning and forecast collaboration, supplier managed inventory, contract manufacturing, and even end-tier material traceability. Now, just taking the contract manufacturing scenario as an example, imagine a process where you need to send purchase orders to 3 different component suppliers, but have those goods delivered to your CMO, your contract manufacturer, who's then going to assemble them into a finished product and then move the goods onto a packaging company who will package them up before using an LSP to send the finished box product to your warehouse to fulfill your customer orders. Everyone in this supply chain needs visibility as to what's happening in the process to reach maximum efficiency. And that's exactly how the network helps. In the logistics area, which Katarina will go into more details on, we support freight ordering. So those orders can be sent directly into the system of the integrated carriers on our network. Otherwise, for smaller carriers, we've got a web interface where they can pick these up. We support global track and trace, ensuring you've got real-time visibility into your global shipments, working with many of the leading visibility insight providers like Project 24, Fourkite, Shipio, and so on, providing good coverage by both region and mode. We have carbon tracking and dock appointment scheduling, and many other areas, again, as Katarina will show shortly. And then for asset management, we support building a digital twin of your assets, compiling all technical and service documentation to then assist with the ongoing service and maintenance of your assets, and even supporting new business models for OEMs, such as equipment as a service. So if you've got a factory, for example, the assets would typically be your production equipment on the production floor, the shop floor. And we model digital twins of these and provide all the details an engineer would need to perform the maintenance. Plus, we track the history of parts changed on the assets. And of course, it integrates to the work order functionality in SAP ECC and S4HANA for assigning work orders to engineers and enabling them to update details of what work they've performed. And then in finance, we support a range of working capital management capabilities, including supply chain financing, receivables financing for your trading partners, and dynamic discounting. And then finally, our contingent workforce collaboration capabilities ensure you can find the right resource at the right time to support your business needs. And this works hand in hand with the asset management collaboration scenario I just explained. And we continue to build out broader and deeper capabilities across all of these areas. So I'm going to stop there, and hopefully that gives you a bit of a sense of what the Business Network is and how it can help you and your business with better trading partner collaboration. So with that, Katarina, over to you.
Thank you, Tony, for guiding us through the Business Network overview. My name is Katarina. I'm part of the Westernacher transportation management practice, within which I specialize exactly on the visibility and collaboration with the carriers. So now, thanks to the Tony, we know how the SAP Business Network can help with the connecting, with the transparency and the sustainability. And we also know that SAP Business Network is a huge network of networks. And one of those sub-networks is also logistics collaboration. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that topic, shall we? We live in a challenging, volatile times full of disruptions and unexpected events. Many of our customers approach us with different types of the struggles and demands which they are facing on a daily basis. I personally believe that there are three major pillars on which we could build to anticipate and mitigate supply chain risks. These are collaboration, automation, and technology. And all three of them give us flexibility. And as known, flexibility is the key to resiliency. Every minute matters in the logistics. So having accurate information at the right time allows you to take faster decisions and to react accordingly. With a platform that serves as a single version of the truth, you can exchange real-time data, real-time information with anyone who is involved in the entire process, which means being on the same page with whoever puts hands on the package. Automation is a quite broad concept, and of course we don't have time to deep dive in that one. And that concept includes the transportation planning, freight booking, freight settlement, and so on. Nevertheless, in a nutshell, automation as such helps to save the time, it helps to save the effort, and ultimately, of course, also the cost. By implementing automated solution, you can reduce mistakes, you can eliminate errors, so you can gain time to focus on what really matters. It means on your primary business objectives. Technology assists with these highest frictions touchpoints in the process, creating greater efficiency and cost effectiveness. We simply cannot add more trains or tracks or build the new roads or railways over the night to address the increasing transportation demands, right? And this is the reason why today we must and should address these kind of issues with the digital solutions. Utilizing control towers that give you an overview about what is happening, digitizing communication with the business partners, leveraging artificial intelligence or blockchain. This is how to tackle the challenges. And one of the great tools which is addressing all of these three pillars, which I'm mentioning here, is Business Network for Logistics. We already know that the Business Network for Logistics is part of the SAP Business Network, where also other various networks can be connected into the one big ecosystem. Business Network for Logistics is focused on logistics processes, apparently. Like the other networks, also this one is modular and is composed of the 4 separate modules. These are the freight collaboration, global track and trace, material traceability, and intelligent insights. So freight collaboration connects business partners across the entire life cycle, empowering teams to manage logistics in a very collaborative way, hence driving efficiency and resilience with a streamlined collaboration. Involved business partners have a central place to interact in a standardized and digital way, having the real-time access to the information anytime, anywhere. And such collaboration between the shippers and LSPs leads not only to the improved transparency and the greater efficiency, but also to the better decision-making, disruptions mitigations, delay reduction, and of course, at the end, ultimately, to the higher customer satisfaction. So this is where the freight collaboration is focused on. Global track and trace, as the names already indicates, gives you the the tracking and tracing insights for the goods in transit and order fulfillment. So instead of not knowing what is happening with your freight, you would gain the full transportation visibility, and thanks to the alerts, you can manage by exception, which ultimately means better operational efficiency and a higher customer satisfaction. The third module here is material traceability, and that one is about traceability and integrity. It leverages blockchain-based technology and builds the trust through product genealogy and transparency. With this tool, you can evaluate how all product batches and events relate to one another. So you could easily identify the provenance of each component, track it back to its source, to alert partners of the eventual product issues, so to streamline and speed up overall product records if needed. And Intelligent Insights. Intelligent Insights is analytical add-on to the Freight Collaboration, or GDT, that is turning transactional insights into the data intelligence. It offers top-down analytics, so you can identify the bottlenecks. You can easily detect any exceptions or deviations. Also, analyzing the carrier's performance or the shipments across various geographies or the business processes. This is very simple, having the intelligence insights in place. So that can help you to take actions very fast when needed. So these are the four the modules as a part of the business for logistics. And now let's glance on the freight collaboration in a little bit more detailed way. So freight collaboration streamlines communication and collaboration among all logistics parties, and it supports the entire life cycle, from the planning via contracting until settlement of the freight cost. It not only streamlines the communication of what shall be transported, but also supports the digital exchange of the documents, which is one of the challenges, as Tony was also mentioning before. Freight collaboration is integrated out of box with SAP Transportation Management and S/4HANA, and can seamlessly interact with any carriers or LSPs based on available APIs or web UI connection. So wondering what benefits would you achieve? So collaboration between the parties using the cloud-based solution can greatly improve transportation and logistics operation, because both shippers and LSPs would have real-time access to the same information, which leads to the more efficient transportation planning and execution. It reduces lead times and, of course, lower the cost. Such a streamlined process means higher efficiency and agility that is allowing quick and swift response to the changing demands and the market conditions. So what can I actually do with freight collaboration, you may ask? This is somehow displayed here on that slide. So we know that transportation planners spend plenty of time and efforts and trying to ensure that LSPs will have the right capacity at the right price on extremely short notice. And thanks to the freight collaboration, they could reduce the phone calls, they could reduce the emails and all this craziness around, and to handle whole communication in a fully digital way. When a carrier comes at the very last moment saying, hey, sorry, but I cannot execute the freight, it is so easy with the freight collaboration just to send the pre-planned shipment to one or multiple other carriers via tendering option, hence finding alternative executor of the freight. Why to let drivers wasting their productive time sitting and waiting at the locations when they can easily self-book a time slot for loading and unloading? They can confirm the appointment upfront, hence plan properly the time they would spend at the pickup or delivery site. And by doing this, the shippers would understand at what time, how many trucks will come. Thus, they could optimize the resources in the warehouse and manage the incoming flow. Coming back to the automation, I truly believe that we should automate whatever is possible. Let's not spend too much time on the repetitive steps. Really focus on those elements which are problematic ones and which requires attention. Carriers can do the self-billing. They can create invoices by a few simple clicks in the freight collaboration platform. And in case of any unexpected situation, let the carriers raise a dispute, which can be then resolved digitally, both shipper and carrier having instant updates and the same picture throughout whole time. Utilizing freight collaboration, you streamline the information flow between different parts of the supply chain, from ordering to delivery. And those information and the updates are then instantly exchanged between business network and subsequently passed also to the transportation management. So this is in a nutshell a little bit about freight collaboration. And now, what about the transport visibility? So thanks to the GDT, or Global Track and Trace solution within the Business Network for Logistics, it is so easy to have an instant view into what is happening with the freight prior its arrival or after departing from your site. To have frequent updates about exact position, to have calculated estimated time of arrival, to know about completed milestones or even unplanned delays, and to see also on the map where your cargo is. And all thanks to the direct inputs from the carriers or by leveraging networks of visibility providers. Moreover, the GDT helps you to analyze the impact of the situation and to notify the stakeholders. Thanks to the automated alerts, rather than checking all of the shipments one by one, you can manage by exception and to take the necessary actions. Imagine being alerted about possible delay, which is impacting your manufacturer plan. Based on newly calculated ETA, you can decide, what shall I do? Should I wait, or rather should I adjust the production plan? Or maybe shall I adjust the missing components from another alternative supplier? Yeah? Or let's consider the multimodal shipment, where one of the main legs, for example, is indicated to be delayed. Based on such valuable insights, you can update the subsequent legs and then, for example, to replan those on another mode of transport. So these are also the practical examples how you can leverage having the information from the GDT. So as you can see, the Global Track and Trace solution helps significantly to improve your operation efficiency, to mitigate the risks, and to increase the customer satisfaction. However, since I believe one picture speaks thousands of words, let me play for you a short video where you could have a little bit of sense how the GDT could look for you. So let's see if that works. Yeah, okay. So let's imagine that there is a customer calling to your customer service department, and they're wondering when they can expect the order to be delivered. So what your customer service can do, they can hop into the GDT. So this is how the UI or how the screen for the GDT could look like for you. And highly likely they will choose the application which is focused on the tracking of the sales order fulfillment. So they will choose the particular order, and immediately they would see the list of all the orders which match the criteria which you have. So you have all the orders listed here. You, on the first glance, you already have the understanding what is the execution status, if there is any delay, what is the on-time and full delivery status, and stuff like that. But coming back to our example, so somebody is calling to me and asking me what is happening with my particular order. I can put the sales order number in this filtering option, and then I can have a look and to deep dive a little bit more into that in order to understand what is happening. So here in this example, we see that we have an order which is being executed. However, part of it is delayed. So I need to understand what is happening and why it is being delayed and in which process step it's delayed. So I would have also, as mentioned before, overview about the impact. So it's not about only information that, okay, my order is delayed or my shipment is delayed, which is impacting my orders. but it's also understanding the impact of the delay. So if my original order was around 500 euro and one part of this orders is delayed, I can see on the top calculated delay impact, which is 16% of the overall order. And then I can have a look a little bit deeper to see which order, what was the quantity to be delivered, which order items were delivered, which are not delivered. So here, particularly, I see the milestones which were fulfilled and which not. So it is obvious that the order was created, the delivery was created, it was good issued. However, it did not yet reach the final destination. So I see the final milestone is not met. Obviously, I see that this one item line from the sales order is being delayed. Unlike the remaining two item lines, which are fully already delivered, which I see in the milestone fulfillment process, everything is green. So everything is supported with the color coding, and it is very easy to spot those aspects which you need to pay attention for. So now I just need to deep dive in those which are red, because obviously red is attracting my attention. So I need to have a look what is happening there, and I can go to the shipment and okay, it's probably not advanced visible, but basically on the shipment level, I would have the immediate information about what was the planned time of arrival, what is the latest estimated time of arrival, what is calculated delay, so if it's, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours, 3 days, and stuff like that. And also on the map, I can immediately see where exactly is positioned my cargo as of now. So all this information with a few simple clicks, which I can have on tip of my fingerprint. So this is more or less how the GDT could look like for you. So I hope that you like what you saw. And maybe you wonder now, what can I do in order to arrange to have something similar also for my company? We at Westernacher have pre-prepared so-called time-to-value solution for you, which are basically the packages with the predefined scope that can be implemented within a couple of weeks, depending on your current landscape. So do you use the SAP Transportation Management? Fantastic, that's a great start to start integrating with the freight collaboration or the global track and trace solution, and to gain visibility on your freight orders and freight bookings. Or are you still on the ECC? Not a problem at all. We can offer ERP integration package to integrate GDT with your ECC as well. Or alternatively, are you used to use the SAP TM as the main monitoring tool for execution update? If so, then we can help you to integrate directly with the visibility providers. And if transport visibility is not enough and you seek for more advanced visibility, we can support with the IBP integration on top of it, because we truly believe in end-to-end supply chain visibility, ensured via supply chain control tower. What is supply chain control tower, or our vision? How we envision this overall thing? So supply chain control tower represents different levels of the visibility. So the first two levels are already becoming the standard nowadays, and they are about transparency and proactive alerting, where we can perform diagnostic in order to understand retrospectively what and why happened, but also proactively to foresee what might happen. However, going one step further is to have a tool in place that would support our decision making and effectively suggest any recommendation, and not only based on the historical data, but also taking into consideration the real-time conditions and constraints. So that's stage 3. And then even more advanced is a prescriptive approach, where the decisions are somehow automated through the AI or other technologies. For example, as mentioned before, to have the automatic replanning of certain legs of the multi-leg shipment based on the obtained estimated time of arrival of the predecessing delays, right? So when you see that one leg is delayed, then you don't need to replan manually the particular leg, but you can have the system replanning it for you on your behalf. So this is what we truly believe in when it comes to the visibility. Nevertheless, let's now be a little bit more tangible. I'm about to share with you two stories where we implemented Business Network for Logistics solution. The first one is about implementation of the freight collaboration. Aldara is our client, which is a prominent multinational leader in agribusiness, operating in more than 20 countries in the Middle East and Asia. And they struggled with the transparency of their supply chain network due to siloed operations. They lacked harmonization and automation, and all of that caused them excessive manual tasks and delays and errors. So what we did is that we analyzed their processes, and we understood that the SAP transportation management and freight collaboration would be an answer to their struggles. So we proposed a solution which automates the process of order management and offers better insights into the road and ocean transportation. We designed and built a robust landscape, which is integrating their non-SAP ERP system with SAP Transportation Management System and connecting it via Business Network for Logistics with external parties. During first weeks, I think 13 land carriers were onboarded, several ocean liners via Descartes as the visibility provider, and also thanks to the direct B2B integration, Agility, as one of their biggest third party, was connected into the same network. So today, planning and order management takes place in SAP TM, while Business Network is acting as a centerpiece, accumulating all insights from various sources and helping multiple parties with the communication, with the order confirmation, events reporting, and the freight settlement, which all is happening in the freight collaboration. And then this information is then sent back to the SAP Transportation Management. So what is the outcome? Today now, Aldara has a modern logistics platform that serves as a single version of the truth, enabling all parties involved to have a unified view of the freight status, which helps preventing delays. It helps with to avoid miscommunication and errors. Aldara managed to foster tighter partnership. They gained visibility into the road and ocean transport, and they eliminated manual tasks and errors. To quote the global IT director, Aldara achieved automation and visibility, which made life much easier and business more efficient. Shortly after the implementation, they managed to decrease transactional cost by 25%. They managed to increase efficiency by 70% due to electronic invoice verification, and they saved 1 working day per week due to automatic freight order handling. And it's pretty impressive, isn't it? So that was one of the examples which I wanted to share with you. And now there is another one, which is our latest implementation of the visibility solution, which went live in November last year. And our client, again, from the agribusiness, which is specifying or which is focused on the seeds and the crop protection, was seeking for the real-time visibility into the ocean and freight and the road freight, to be notified about the delays, to understand what updated arrival time might be, and so on. This project was very swift and smooth. It took us a little bit less than 4 months from the very beginning until having the first shipment monitored. What we did was SAP GDT implementation with the ECC backend, together with the visibility provider Project 44 for the trucks and containers tracking. 5 of road carriers and 6 of ocean carriers have been onboarded to the GDT. And throughout this very short time, we moreover also introduced our own custom logic for pseudo shipments. because our client, they didn't use the shipments before. They were using only the delivery documents. So what we did is that we built a special logic that allows automatic creation of so-called pseudo shipments, which we then pass to the GDT, and we use it then for the tracking. So again, what our client achieved with this project, so they gained full port-to-port visibility for intercompany movements from plant to plant within EMEA and APAC region. And based on container ID, they have pretty good understanding where the goods are in any moment. They also track the full track loads in the Europe from door to door, based on the license plates, utilizing the same business logistic platform. And thanks to the notification, they are able to focus on problematic loads or those which require attention, so they can make the decisions very fast. And as part of the rollouts, we then also enabled the STO and PO tracking, inbound shipments tracking for the ocean freight. And as we speak now, we are also working on the visibility for LTL. So these were just two examples on how we at Westernacher helped businesses with visibility and collaboration. Right now, we have multiple ongoing projects, more than 10 other projects or the prospects in the pipeline, and you can be also part of one of them. As mentioned before, we can implement similar solution for you in a very short time, thanks to the predefined time to value packages. Or if you are still a little bit hesitant considering, but instead of taking the giant leap, you prefer to go with the small steps, we can support you with a proof of concept to ensure that your expectation will be addressed and met. We will start small with a simple pilot and subsequently scale up based on the needs. We can also arrange a reference call for you in case you would want to hear first-hand experience from other companies which already went on this journey with us, and to exchange the experiences and impressions. So no matter which tool you decide to choose, no matter which direction you will go, I encourage you, collaborate, automate, and be ready to expect unexpected. We at Westernacher are happy to help. Thank you very much for your attention. Tom, do we have any questions on the line?
Excellent, thanks both. That was a really, really good presentation. So yeah, we've got a handful of questions. If anybody has any more, as I mentioned at the start, if you pop them into the questions tab and we can ask the experts whilst we have them available to us. So maybe the first question I have for Katarina, perhaps. You mentioned that involved parties like LSPs or carriers need to be onboarded to BN4L. Based on your experience, how much time does it take to onboard the carrier?
Yeah, that's a very common question, and which is being asked. Well, I always say that it depends. It depends on the responsiveness of the carrier, on their readiness, on their willingness to cooperate. So this can be done, and also it depends on the type of the integration which we want to do with them. So if we speak about the web UI onboarding via web UI, so this specific platform which they can have, that one can be done even with the days, right? It's very, very quick. On the other hand, I also saw examples when it took more than 2 months, because there were struggles like who to contact, where to contact. There was, the carrier were not that much responsive. So sometimes it can be longer, sometimes it's very quick. And of course, if we try to connect with the carriers via direct integration with the B2B integration, for that one you really need to allocate a longer timeline, because these integrations needs to be built. So there are some predefined APIs by the SAP, but still the carrier needs to adjust a little bit to them in order to build this integration.
Excellent, thank you. Another question, I think perhaps for Katarina again. How does the content and functions in Business Network support the calculation of Scope 3 CO2 emissions? And what kind of reporting capabilities are available?
Right. Yeah, so the carbon footprint and calculation, this is, as we heard also from Tony before, so sustainability, it's a very important topic these days. So the GDT as a module of the Business Network for Logistics also supports the CO2 reporting and tracking. So in order to be as much easy as possible to the carrier to the shippers, it is handled in the same way like the carriers are reporting any other event, right? So at the end, when the shipment is finalized and is completed, they can send the information about the CO2 emission and the carbon emission, and then that this information you have visible in the GDT, and you can work on this information also further with in the analytics tool and stuff like that.
Excellent. Another question, maybe for Tony. How does the business network differ from EDI?
Good question. I mean, look, firstly, the network is much more than EDI. Okay, EDI is simply a pipe by which to send what I call a dumb message from one point to another. So it's point to point, and there's no intelligence built in. The network, on the other hand, provides a user interface where the supplier might be better served to receive and send transactions in that manner. In other words, if the transaction volume is low or infrequent, EDI can be extremely expensive because you have to build integration to an EDI platform. Whereas with the network, you can log into our beautiful supplier portal and perform all the actions you need right there, no integration required. If the volume is high, as I mentioned earlier, then of course we support a fully integrated scenario. But then another key point is that the network comes with intelligence built in, and I mentioned this earlier. So we've got over 200 business rules that the customer can configure across a range of topics, which eliminates errors and really enables processes to be completed far more efficiently and quickly. And you don't get that with EDI. I'll pick up on the example I mentioned earlier. So you can specify a price variance, for example, between the purchase order price that you've quoted as the customer when you submitted the PO, and the invoice price that the supplier might be quoting when they send the invoice. So if the supplier submits an invoice with a unit price higher than the PO price, you can automatically reject it, and the supplier needs to address the issue before resubmitting, right? So that invoice doesn't reach the accounts payable team until it's correct, and that means that when an invoice does reach the accounts payable team, it can be ready for payment pretty much instantly, enabling customers to take advantage of things like early payment discounts and supply chain financing options. And of course, our network is also comprised of millions of companies that you can search, connect, and transact with, and that's not the case with an EDI platform.
Excellent, thank you very much. I think maybe another question for Tony. This question probably came in earlier in the presentation as we touched on it, or Katarina touched on it, is does Business Network integrate with SAP IBP? I don't know if there was any more to elaborate on that one, Tony.
Yeah, so that's SAP Integrated Business Planning, and yes, it does. And I think you're right. I mentioned it, and Katarina mentioned it as well. There are a few scenarios where the network works together with IBP. One area is where you capture the demand forecast in IBP, and without the network, you would typically download that forecast into a spreadsheet and email it to the supplier. What was I saying earlier about inefficient processes? But with the network, you can actually send that forecast directly from IBP to the supplier, where they are prompted to log into our supplier portal, and from there they can confirm their ability to meet the forecast requirements, or otherwise, changing the quantities they're able to fulfill week by week, for example. And that's then sent directly back to IBP via the network, where the supply chain planner can see the impact. Perhaps the supplier can't meet the demands next month, and so now the planner has to go to another supplier to have their forecast needs met. And we can also share, to kind of expand upon what Katarina was demonstrating here, we can also share real-time visibility data via the network to IBP. So again, planners can understand, potential delays and disruption to inbound deliveries and plan accordingly.
Excellent. Okay, so we've just got two more questions. Maybe one for Katarina here. Is freight procurement, such as freight agreements and rate or volume negotiations, supported?
Good question. Right now, it is not part of the SAP Business Network for Logistics for the Freight collaboration, but it is already on the roadmap, or SMP roadmap. I think it is planned for the next year already. So if you ask me the same question in half a year, then I will answer yes. But as of today, it's not there yet.
Excellent. Okay, and we got one final question, which seems like a fitting one to end with. So for Tony, how critical is this solution for SAP's business network strategy?
I mean, look, super critical, first of all. So if we're talking specifically about, business network for logistics, it is super critical, because if you can think about, just for a minute, the number of carriers and LSPs and shippers around the world, many of whom are running their business on an SAP system, and there are, hundreds of millions, billions of transactions happening a year. And so we're really, looking to help enable that aspects of business and take out all of the inefficiency that there often resides in these kind of processes today and systems today. When we think about SAP Business Network overall, it is absolutely a cornerstone of SAP's strategy overall. We are essentially network enabling ERP, and that is really the next evolution for ERP. SAP invented the ERP category over 50 years ago and have transformed the way businesses do business as a result of ERP. And I think SAP Business Network is kind of that next evolution, where we now take those processes that ERP is great at managing inside the four walls of the business across departments, but now extending those processes outside the four walls of the business and bringing in to that process the different types of trading partners, suppliers and carriers and OEMs, etc. Bringing those trading partners into that process. So again, they've got visibility, and we can continue to remove inefficiency from the process. So Business Network is absolutely critical to SAP overall.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And so thanks very much to both our presenters today. I think it's been a really insightful webinar, and hopefully the attendees have taken a lot away from this as well. Thank you to everybody that joined us today. Of course, Westernacher and SAP are here and available if anybody would like to dive deeper into these topics that we've covered today. We'd be more than happy to hear from you and to do any next steps that are appropriate. But in the interest of everyone getting 5 minutes back probably before the next meetings, we'll finish up now, and thank you everybody for joining us.